Hey everybody, welcome to Zennie62 on a Thursday night. Barry Lee, hello. Hey Barry Lee, thank you very much for waiting the queue. And since you're tweeting this out, please tweet this out. Hashtag waiting the queue and Oakland, and then hashtag live stream. Okay. So if you could do that,
we've been waiting
excuse
for this
me.
for 10 years, so we're finally there.
Hashtag Oakland, hashtag live stream would be the thing that you want to do. And I am blessed, absolutely 1,000,000% blessed, not 100%, not even 1,000%, 1,000,000% blessed to have this Oakland legend with me tonight. He is none other than Leo Bazile, Oakland City Councilman from 1982 to 1993. And Leo, you gave way to Larry Reed after that, right?
No, Desi Woods Jones after me, and then Larry.
Yeah, that's right. How could I say Desi Woods Jones? That's right. And you may remember, I don't know if you remember or not. Remember Ralph Grant?
Yes, Ralph, a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he was my step brother-in-law, and my mother, his mother-in-law.
You're speaking of Ralph Grant, the accountant, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Kappa Alpha Psi, Ralph.
One and the same. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the Chester Yerger and Patricia Yerger, she's my mom, and he's my stepdad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I met, she's here now and says hello. She wanted to make sure she says, oh, he won't remember me. I said, Mom, he'll remember you.
All right, this is right.
Yeah, so it's, Leo represents, Leo, how long have you been in Oakland? Let's put it that way.
Let's see. I came to Oakland in 1945. So how many years is that? That's 73 or something. I don't know.
Something like that, yeah. Because I 45. Let's see, 45, 55, 55, 65, 65, 75. That's 30 years right there. 75, 85.
Yeah. Well, I was born in 43, and I came to Oakland when I was 2 years old. So from 1945 until right now, I'm sitting here on 100th Avenue.
Wow. So where were you born? What city?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, okay. That explains that little Creole you got in there. What? So did you come out as part of the migration for the shipbuilding? Was that your family that came out here?
Well, my grandfather was riding the rattler, as he used to call the train, a Pullman porter, and Oakland was the terminus for the porters. And he laid over in Oakland with his cousin in Emeryville and put in an application while he was here for the city of Oakland and got a job with the city of Oakland. 1943, brought my grandmother, and my grandmother brought me in 1945 to Oakland.
Wow. What do you remember most about Oakland in those days, growing up? Just curious.
Well, which part of it? Because I break it up in my mind because I'm trying to put this book together. My years up to high school, that I left Oakland when I was in high school. I mean, after I graduated from high school, which was 1960. So I go from my time of growing up in the halcyon days of the 50s with Dwight Eisenhower and Harry Truman. So those kind of things bring time frames to my mind, of different events and people.
How would you say Oakland has changed? And folks, I want to say, welcome to Zennie62 if you're just coming in. I want to say right off the bat that very recently, last year, 2 years, well, now it's been that long. It's been a year ago, though. Leo gave one of the, actually, you know what? I take this back. The most outstanding speech about Oakland I've ever heard anyone give, and that was when he was a guest at the town hall that Ray Bobbitt held at the Hilton. And we're going to talk about that later because you will learn the difference between the city, San Francisco, and Oakland, the town. You might think you know, but you don't know until you've heard Leo talk about it. But right now I want to have you have an idea of who Leo is as a person and where how he looks at Oakland. How has Oakland changed over the time that you've been in it?
Well, as I said, if I go back to the 1940s when we came, my grandfather brought my grandmother up, and my mother was from New Orleans, and she didn't want to leave New Orleans. And my father was in the war, he was in the Pacific, and she's going to wait to New Orleans till her husband comes. And so my grandmother snatched me up and brought me to California, where she came to meet her husband, who got a job in Oakland with, at that time, called the street department. So off the trains he came and got into Oakland, California, and that's where he brought me, where my grandmother brought me. And so those years were those growing up years, but the 50s is when I plug in, because I associate the 50s and my life with television, and that's when everybody was getting televisions.
What was your favorite show at the time?
Oh, they had so many, but for kids it was cartoons, and my favorite show on Saturdays was a thing called Bar 7 Theater. It was Channel 7, because no one had 3 channels in those days. Channel 7 was ABC, still is, I think. Bar 7 Theater was cowboy westerns all day long from 12 o'clock until about 5.
Wow.
One after another. So Lone Ranger, Johnny Mac Brown, Cisco Kid, all of those things,
Hey, so you remember in Oakland before professional sports, basically. Is that fair to say?
Well, not really. We had semi-professional. We had the Oakland Oaks baseball team, and there was the San Francisco Seals, which was a baseball team. There was, just the Pacific Coast League, it was called. Joe DiMaggio and some of them came up out of there and went to the Yankees,
Oh, I didn't realize that. So was it basically more community where you knew the players? How was it then versus today? If it's even a fair comparison.
Well, it's for me as a kid, we played every sport. So whatever season was in, that's what we followed. So we had the Oakland Oaks, the San Francisco Seals, the Hollywood Stars, and so we had those kind of city rivalries. San Francisco and Oakland kids had their local favorites. Lionel Wilson used to be one of those semi-pro baseball
that's right.
players.
Folks, Lionel Wilson was Oakland's first black mayor. At that time, what was it like for blacks in Oakland?
Well, in the 50s, it was okay because there was lots of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
The war was over. World War II is what brought, my father and my grandfather, like I said, came out, got a job at the city of Oakland. But after the war was over, my father settled here, and there was lots of jobs because the Cold War, thanks to the Russians, I have a love-hate relationship with Russians, because of the Russians and the Cold War, all of the military bases stayed open, so there were plenty of jobs. So everybody was pretty much in harmony at that time. There was no real economic friction. It wasn't until the 60s when the jobs started leaving and going to the suburbs is when things got a little rugged.
Hey, we're with former Oakland City Council member Leo Bazile. We're kind of giving a foundation before we talk about the Raiders and A's. And in fact, speaking of the A's were pretty much the only game in town, or becoming the only game in town back then, right? That was later in the 50s, I think it was.
Well, the A's didn't get here until the 60s, but I can't remember which 6. But see, again, we had the Pacific Coast League, but we always had the San Francisco 49ers as a pro team. Mm-hmm. When the Seals closed down and Willie Mays and the Giants came from New York, I think that was 1959 or somewhere. Don't hold me to these dates. I'm a senior citizen exemption, please.
Yes, sir.
But the main sports were around the high schools in Oakland, and the stars and everything was coming out of the high schools. You had Willie Stargell over in Encinal High School, and you had Frank Robinson, Bill Russell, that kind of stuff that was going on. We've always had tremendous high school athletes here in the Bay Area, and so there's a lot of that activity going on. Always the big games between Stanford and Cal. So that was the sports scene before the Giants and the Dodgers came to the West Coast. We didn't have a lot of professional sports like we do today.
And you're an attorney. Did you get your law degree at Stanford?
No, I got my law degree at Bolt Hall in Berkeley.
Bolt, go Bears! I got my master's degree in city planning at Bolt. Okay, that means I don't have to have a.
No, I was undergraduate at Stanford, so I was always schizophrenic on big game day.
You and Clinton Killian, who I had on the show. Clinton has the same problem. No, actually, you know what? Clinton doesn't even claim Cal at all. Clinton is all Stanford.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way because I don't know. I tell him, my law partner, John Harrison, all the time, he went to Cal undergraduate and graduate. I said, I hardly identify with ever going to school in Berkeley because I very rarely went down on the lower part of the campus,
Oh, is that right?
Well, you didn't have to. You stayed up at the law school most of the time. Plus, I was married at the time, so I would go home. I didn't have any reason to hang around at Cal. But I enjoyed this wonderful 3 years there. Plus, growing up in the neighborhood and in the community, I've always associated with Cal because we were little kids in the projects, and they would take us to that was a big thing to go to the Cal football games up at Berkeley on Saturdays.
Wow. Hey, so when was it? Do you remember when the Raiders came here and what it was like then in the Coliseum being built? What was it like then? Because none of us has any mooring as to as to that history, and the ability to talk to a person like you.
You have to give me a leeway on the dates.
Okay.
Because all I can say was in the '60s, we didn't have major league sports here. The Giants came first, and they were over in San Francisco, and they started playing in the Seal Stadium that had been there, and then they got Candlestick Park going pretty much early. The whole bond issue thing was moving. And then I can't remember. I think the A's came first when we got our Coliseum bond passed. The A's were in Kansas City. They were the Kansas City Athletics, and they came. And then the AFL, the American Football League team, started as a different league from an NFL because we always had San Francisco 49ers. That was the team for the Bay Area. They were over at Kezar Stadium, for many years. And then the 49ers moved down to, their stadium at Candlestick. But over in Oakland, let's see, we passed the bond issue, and that's how we ended up with the Oakland Alameda County Board because we had, it was a county and city bond issue that was passed that created the Coliseum Board and that whole deal, and they built the stadium. I remember when the Raiders, when they first came, they played over at Alameda Naval Air Station because they didn't have a field, and I think they played in Cal a few games. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right. I think you're.
Then they went over to Lady College over at Frank Yoho Field over there, and that's when I really started going to the games.
Did you ever get a chance to meet Al Davis then?
Oh yeah. I remember Mr. Davis pretty well. I still do Bible study with Clem Daniels every week.
Oh yeah. How's he doing, by the way? Great Raider running back.
He's doing great. Clem, he had hip surgery a couple of times, but he's doing good.
Wow. Hey, so.
But he's very tight, very close with the Davis family, so. So, he Clem, when he has businesses here in Oakland, kept everybody involved in the community. Al had a house up there in Piedmont, at that time before I think he moved out to Blackhawk.
Oh, okay. Was he on Mountain Boulevard?
No. Who's that?
Al Davis. At the time, was in Piedmont? Because some people say he was on Mountain. I was trying to get some clarity there as to where they lived. When they lived in Oakland or in Piedmont, rather. Yeah,
I don't know what Mountain Boulevard. All I know is this house was up in Piedmont there. I can't tell you what street or area it is.
Okay. Hey, let's fast forward a little bit and talk about your time on council and first of all, how, from your perspective, what happened between the city, the council, Lionel Wilson, Mr. Al Davis, and the Raiders that caused the Raiders to leave to LA from your perspective?
Had nothing to do with any of us. It was straight up business. Al Davis had a business proposition and he took advantage of it. All we had to do then was react and try to protect the interests of the city of Oakland. Of course, we wanted to keep the team here. And when people say, okay, well, beat my deal, you have to sit down and look at his deal and see what you can do. And of course, everybody at that time wanted, to keep their pro teams. And Oakland was always in the shadow of San Francisco. San Francisco did have major league sports, and people knew it was a world-class city, a destination city. Oakland, nobody knew where Oakland was, but essentially the Raiders put us on the map. I used to drive across country going back to Louisiana with my folks, and we'd have California license plate on the car, so that always drew a lot of attention in Texas and different places down there as we driving through. Where are you from? I said, California. Yeah, I see that on your license plate. Where in California? We said, Oakland. They said, where? We always have to say, oh, well, it's across the bridge from San Francisco. San Francisco Bridge, yeah, it's one end. Well, we're on the other end. But everybody knows the Raiders.
Hey, you have a favorite Raider?
So before that, our claim to fame was the Hells Angels, Black Panthers, and whatever. No, I'm just making a joke.
Hey, did you have a favorite Raider coming up?
Oh, I had a lot of them. I mean, first of all, my classmate that I liked, still used to play golf with, Jim Plunkett. Mm-hmm. But no, so many of them. No, the Kenny Stabler, the Snake, Darryl LaMonica. I mean, go back to Charles. Oh no, it's only you start me because I knew so many of the guys. I still know a lot of them. Gene Upshaw, and all the guys that were here in Oakland.
His brother Marvin, George Atkinson. Sure, you know George.
Right, George. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, George, and
Hey, George lives out here now. He's in Savannah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I saw some at Raider training camp last year. He's out here in Savannah, Georgia. He's
Is he broadcasting?
He does broadcast occasionally, but I don't know that he's got a permanent gig like he used to, right? But you know. But
well, if you see him, tell him Leo said hello.
I definitely will do that. I might even whoop away to have you guys on at the same time. That would be really something. Hey, I'm curious to know talking about bringing the Raiders back the first time. What led to, because as I recall, you correct me if I'm wrong, there were the original idea to bring them back was like, what, $800 million or something like that? How did that come about? Because they left for LA.
Again, don't ask me any of these technicalities and don't quote these numbers to me because I don't know.
You got it.
All I know is that, again, it's business. Mm-hmm. Mr. Davis is going to go to Los Angeles and they're going to build him a stadium, and there was all kind of machinations and craziness going on down there in Southern California. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, I think when I came on the city council, we had already initiated a suit against the Raiders mm-hmm. to block them from leaving. Mm-hmm. Okay, then they left. Then they were gone for 13 years, and then they were negotiating back into the city. So it was all business mm-hmm. driven. It had nothing to do with us politically. Politically, we were locked in because the bond deal that created the Coliseum entity locked that board in. They're very smart rascals. They put language in there that locked themselves into those board positions. They're self-perpetuating,
Oh, I didn't know that. So George Vukasin, the late, great CEO of Peerless Coffee, designed that in?
I don't know if he did it, but I'm just saying they included that. That's where you got, what was his name, De Silva?
Yeah, Ed De Silva. Ed De Silva.
Yeah, and all those guys, Jack. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, when they put that together, the public don't know that they who pays attention to what the governing structure is going to be,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So nobody knowing what the intricacies were of all of those deals, the boards just pretty much ran it, and they were all businessmen, and so it was straight up business deal. Al was buddy with all those guys, and whatever they negotiated, they couldn't work it out. And then he couldn't get his stadium down in Southern California, and the next thing I know, they were coming back here.
Do you feel like the deal? I mean, is there anything, if you're able to roll back the clock and remember, that you would point out and say done differently, or I know that things were just sort of, ball was just getting rolling, you're going out, but you were still very much involved. What is there anything? Because I remember we were talking. You talked about Ezra, and you had a great quote about the power of information that I'd like people to hear.
The what?
Power of information. In other words, who controls information, basically.
Oh, yeah. No, see, that was the thing. You asked me what significant event that I remember from all of that.
Yeah.
As I remember, Shannon Reeves, NAACP, and I was representing them at that time as a lawyer, getting into this thing through threatened lawsuits because of minority participation in the various contracts that were going to be awarded for Mount Davis and other improvements at the stadium and so forth. But your question on he who controls the flow of information controls policy, that's something that I learned working for Senator George Moscone when I worked up in the legislature with George. George used to say, he who controls the flow of information controls policy, because the policymakers have to depend on the staffers. And I guess today, this is what Steve Bannon would call this the deep state. The deep state has to provide you the information, and then you decide. Well, if you're a diligent legislator, you'll read the information, you'll ask questions and so forth. Otherwise, if you're a lazy son of a gun, you'll just say, look at the bottom of the page and say the staff recommendation. We looked at options A, B, C, and D. We eliminated the other two, and we think D is the better one. But you could also go for A. Well, okay, staff recommendation is D. And that's what happens. But you don't know where that information came from, who put it in, whether or not it's valid. You have to take the staff's recommendation. And that is what I balked up against when I went on the city council, because the city manager form of government controls the flow of information. And if the policymakers don't ask the right questions, you never get the answers.
That's right. And that's why you push for strong mayor, right?
Well, I wanted somebody in the flow of information that was elected and accountable to the people. The city manager was accountable to 5 members on the city council. And, at one time, the 5 members of the city council were all from the Downtown Business League, so.
That's right. Hey, what do you remember about Joe Debro? Because you mentioned you and Shannon Reeves, and didn't Joe really make a push to have more minority involvement in the Raiders Stadium construction?
Well, Joe was the catalyst for minority participation in all constructive things. We had the biggest fight in the world with Joe spearheading for the Alice Arts Theater. What do they call it now? There's a different name. They changed it.
Right, I forgot the name, but they did change the name.
Malongo or something?
Yeah, I'd have to look that one up, but.
Yeah, well, that used to be an old women's athletic club, and we ended up saving the building and remodeling it to a community arts center that it was supposed to be. It still is, I guess. But Joe was the one who made the bid to put minority contractors in to do that job. And that's when we learned about bonding and all of those kind of things. So he was really a warrior and a great guy in that regard. Great man. I love Joe Debro.
Yeah, miss him to death, actually. I really do. Hey, do you think that overall, bringing the Raiders back was a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, and I asked that straight up because of what we're going through right now. What we're going through right now is nothing. I mean,
it's a good thing when they were here, and it's a bad thing that they're leaving. But we shall survive, just like we survived while they were gone. And we'll welcome them back with a $2 billion stadium, I guess, in 10 years.
do you think it's worth? Does Oakland deserve to have pro sports? Because it seems like, and here's why I asked, Leo, because it seems like we don't do enough to keep or treat sports as economic development. In Atlanta, they always talk about how many jobs are generated and so on. Here, I got the impression that when we took over, and we being the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda took over the Coliseum in 1996, it was almost like we ran it like a high school gym. I mean, we barely paid attention to it. We didn't have anything like a sports commission to put events in it. I mean, it's like we don't care. Why is it, now this is from the perspective of a guy who tried to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, why do I get the impression that Oakland is very happy to let San Francisco have things and do things, and we don't try to, usurp San Francisco, be the man, if you will. I hate to say it like that, but it's a kind of a generational sexist term, I suppose. But be the person that is the alpha that makes it happen.
Well, again, you're talking about us competing with San Francisco, and we've never been in that situation with San Francisco. So I told you, we're the town, San Francisco's the city. We don't care. San Francisco is far east, West Oakland. Mm-hmm. It's just on the other side of the lake. Mm-hmm. You get on the bridge and you go over there and you're in San Francisco. So we're not competing with San Francisco, never have. We can't. Mm-hmm. We at one time we were a tangent, we were the opposite ends of the bridge. And San Francisco was a little bit bigger town than we were as a town. But as we both grew over years and San Francisco started going up and with their skyscrapers and so on and so forth, it's always been the city since it was the gold city. So, everybody has never complained about San Francisco being the city. Oakland has always been the town. And so the city and the town don't look at each other as competitors. We look at each other as different sections of the same area. So the Bay Area is what we were all about, and San Francisco was the capital of the Bay Area until the town started rising up with Major League Sports and so forth and getting a little name for ourselves. And now we're both being usurped by Silicon Valley and San Jose, which used to be a little sleepy college town when we were growing up.
That's true. You're absolutely right. But I have to ask you, man, because as a guy who has always wanted Oakland to be number one, it bothers me that San Francisco, under my friend and former client, the late Ed Lee, took the Warriors away from us. And I remember Gene Kwan said to me, They did not take it from us. The market took them from us. That's how we got them in the first place. They were the Philadelphia Warriors. Mm-hmm. They came to San Francisco because of business and the league expanding. It wasn't always what it is today, the NBA. Mm-hmm. It came out west with the Lakers from many. How do you think that there's no lakes in Los Angeles? No. So the Philadelphia Phillies and the Philadelphia Warriors came to San Francisco. But because San Francisco was still a town, growing up to be a city, mm-hmm. It was not quite ready for what they needed. So they tried playing basketball, I think, in the Civic Auditorium there for a few games when they first came. Yes, sir. And then they started playing into the Cow Palace. Have you ever been in the Cow Palace? Once. I was there for the San Francisco Symphony and the Scorpions. It was a rock concert. All right, but let me ask you this. Do you know why they named it the Cow Palace? I forgot, honestly. Because it was a place they had rodeos and animal shows and everything. It is a big barn, and it is terrible acoustic-wise for music, and it is worse when you start talking about putting a basketball court down there. So it was ugly. Yeah. And lo and behold, here we were talking about building a stadium over here in Oakland. And the expansion of the AFL from the NFL is what got us in the first place, because Al Davis and the boys crashed the NFL.
And so everybody was expanding, and we got at that point where we could also build a football stadium and a basketball arena if we had a team. And lo and behold, the Warriors the San Francisco Warriors were looking for a place to play, and the marketplace coincided for us. And that's how they got over here. And now they're going back to their home. And we don't care because they're just on the other side of the bay. And we'll go see all of the games anyway, so it does not matter. They're our Bay Area team, whether they play in Oakland, Richmond, or San Francisco. They're still our boys. We wish the Raiders would have done the same thing, but they didn't. Nobody's upset because the Giants, the 49ers are in Santa Clara, even though they're still the San Francisco 49ers. So it's a Bay Area economic thing that we have to look at. It's a regional economic problem that has to be looked at. And it's not a municipal thing anymore. We can't carry it municipally, and we certainly couldn't carry it with that combination of municipal and county.
Hey, I know one person other than myself who is upset about the 49ers going from San Francisco to Santa Clara, and that's Gavin Newsom. He can't even talk about it to this day, and he's running for governor.
Well, who cares? Who cares? It's not an issue. It's not going to turn on anything. It's only for guys like you, excuse my word.
That's all right.
You're a zealot, and that's good.
Yeah, I am a zealot. Yes, I am.
It's what keeps issues alive and what keeps moving things that are sometimes very unpopular. We need that. But the sports thing is big business. It's big industry. They're going to move wherever they are. Look at the Rams are back in Los Angeles. I mean, so who knows?
But here's my truck with what you're saying, and I love what you're saying. But I'm, as a guy whose background is in city planning, got my master's degree in Berkeley, undergraduate from Texas Arlington in urban planning. I was trained, in fact, even before that, all the way to the age of 6, of the idea that government shapes markets. Markets don't shape governments. Government shapes markets. So because of that, I expect my government to tell the sports teams where to go and where not to go. And for example, if I were mayor of Oakland and San Francisco tried to tamper, as much as I love Ed Lee, with the Warriors, I'd have hit him upside the head with a lawsuit so large, it'd have made him choke. Okay? That's the way I think.
So what?
Economic tampering. That's you don't tamper.
No, well, first of all, I understand the issue, and there you go, argue your issue. You filed your lawsuit, and you've got your issue on the table. But after you finish going to get your issue, what is it you're asking the court to do to Mr. Lee?
I would ask the court to I would file an injunction to make them stop. Leave the Warriors alone at Oakland. If anything, help us build in Oakland.
Zennie. I am a lawyer, and I'm telling you, you're talking nonsense.
All right.
You would tell them to stop with it. Look, they could pick up and leave anytime that their lease is up. The whole issue for us in Oakland is do they owe us any money? And I understand that they do.
Yes.
And there's an argument about that, right?
There is a large one, 120 million.
If they can move, then you wasted a whole lot of legal time and lawyer fees on a fruitless lawsuit. You make all the lawsuits you want to, but what remedy are you going to get?
I want damages. I would want. No, seriously.
Well, that's where we are right now.
No,
they are leaving. And are we entitled to damages?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. For two reasons.
Okay, then that's the lawsuit that I'm interested in.
You got it. Okay, the Raiders case, we have damages in 2 ways. First of all, the NFL basically said to the Raiders when they came back to Oakland the first time, and then the Raiders tried to sue the NFL regarding marketing. The NFL countersued, and the NFL and the California Supreme Court basically said, to make a long story short, hey, and they said this in 2005, Leo, hey, you Raiders have to pay the NFL part of that $64 million non-recourse loan that you were given. And guess what? It's not a loan, it's a payment, all right? Get this, Leo, the JPA, the Coliseum, and I'm not expecting you to know this, I'm just saying, for just the reason why I talk the way that I do. They said that their financial advisor, the JPA, in the latest financial report says that loan is now valued at $236 million, $218 million, depending on how you calculate it, all right? The bottom line is we could sue the NFL for that on top of the $370 million relocation fee that the Raiders owe this time around.
So why are we suing them?
Because a certain person who's very high placed.
No anonymity. That no certain person. Why is it the city of Oakland suing or the county of Alameda? First of all, tell me who would be the plaintiff.
Because the county of Alameda is standing in the way.
No. Tell me who is the plaintiff? Who's going to bring this lawsuit? Who's the injured party? County of Alameda, the city of Oakland, or a combination? The Joint Powers Agreement? Which?
Both. The original.
All right. So why won't those entities bring a suit against whom? Who's the defendant?
Because they're
the NFL.
The NFL and the Raiders would be the defendant. In fact, St. Louis is already marching a successful lawsuit process.
No. Forget about St. Louis. Let's talk about Oakland and what we were talking about.
Sure.
Where we know who the plaintiffs are. Why aren't these plaintiffs filing a suit against the NFL and the city? And the Raiders.
Because Larry Reed thinks that if they lose, they'll wind up owing them a ton of money. The attorneys.
He might be right, but how does Larry Reed control anything? He's not the city attorney. He's only one member on the city council.
I understand. You asked me. I told you what Larry's saying. Here's the thing.
No, I don't care what Larry's saying. That he's just one member on the city council.
I don't agree. Right.
Who's the driving force? Is the city attorney recommending to the city that we sue? Is the county attorney recommending to the county that they sue?
The city attorney and the county attorney are both standing in the way. They claim to me personally that they're only doing the bidding of their clients. But Leo, that's bull. Okay? They are driving.
Well, again, if they say that that's what they're doing, because that's what they're supposed to do, they're supposed to take care of the interests of their particular entities.
As they see it.
You're telling me you can't get the city attorney, you can't get the county council to go in your direction on lawsuit, and therefore they're representing those entities and not our city and county.
They basically claim that they're doing the bidding of their bosses, and if their bosses change their mind, then they'll go another direction. And wait. Who's their bosses? Who's the city attorney's boss? They claim the city attorney's boss is the city council, claimed. The county council.
Zennie,
I'm just telling you I'm telling you what they're saying to me. I know.
No, Zennie. The city attorney is an elected official.
I know. But I'm telling you what they're saying.
The boss of the city attorney are the electors.
Leo,
not
I know.
Anybody else, not the city council.
You asked me, I'm telling you what they're telling me. I'm not saying I agree with it. I am not saying
No, it's not a question of whether you agree with it or not. If they're telling you that, they're lying. The city attorney is an individual who represents the city of Oakland and the city of Oakland's interests, and is elected to do so. And they only have to answer to the voters. So if the city attorney is not taking care of our city, Vinny, then you should be bringing the voters down on him or her.
Exactly. That's what I've been trying to do.
The county council, on the other hand, the county council is an appointed official, right?
That's right. The county council says the same
thing. And the county council then is appointed by whom?
The board of supervisors.
And so, therefore, the board of supervisors, along with this aberrant city attorney over here, is not taking care of the interests of the people, and only Zennie is the only one who sees it. I don't understand it. Can you bring a private attorney general suit as a private citizen against them?
There are other people like the Forever Oakland, We Stand with Oakland, Nate Miley, Noel Gallo, Rebecca Callum.
Okay,
so it's more than it's more than me.
So who is the plaintiff? Who is the plaintiff against the NFL and the city of Oakland?
The plaintiff against the NFL is the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, the East Bay entities, as we called them originally. You know, from ad infinitum since we started this, the East Bay entities, because of the damages, the disgorgement, as one attorney calls it, that was done in terms of profit taking on the part of the Raiders in the National Football League. Very similar to.
So when's the next court date?
They haven't filed. They haven't done anything. They're still talking about it in closed session. They had closed session meeting on Tuesday. Okay.
So what we're doing here tonight then is having an intellectual masturbation, right? We're just not really not accomplishing anything that's really on the board.
Well, hey.
So I can't answer the speculative questions because I'm not a board member or a city council member that I would be in the information loop. So again, I can't speak to the policy that's going on one way or the other without, pertinent information.
I gotta ask you this. But I ask you this question: if you're saying that we're intellectually, doing that sort of thing, then aren't they doing the same thing if they're just talking and they're not taking action?
Yeah.
All right. That's
yes,
all right. Okay.
But talking is democracy's back door to doing nothing. It always has been.
Right. That's all they do is talk. It's like I can't say who I got this from, and dear source says, you know how things work, Zennie. Says, you know how things work, Zennie. And but we'll get there in time. That's what I was told. We'll get there in time. Now how?
And we will, and then we will, and so.
So what?
Anytime that you want to divert a question, you form a commission and you put it over there and tell them to bring a report back in 3 months.
They're afraid, Leo. They're lazy. I've said it before on this show, and I'll say it again. You and I both know that when this city wants to take action to do anything, it can do it. But for the most part,
of course,
we don't.
And that's why I'm asking you. If the city is not moving, then somebody has determined that it's not in their interest to move. And the people that are supposed to take care of the interests of the city, of my city at least, are the elected officials downtown.
Now, Larry,
so
right.
I don't know anything about what you're saying, but I certainly will look into it, and
okay.
That's why I'm on the program here to talk to you about it. The public needs to know if their elected officials, the derelict in duty, they're supposed to get on their case.
Larry,
I know for the years that I was on the city council, they wore me out.
Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, to answer your question further, Larry points to Libby. Larry says that it's up to your god sister, as he points it, as to when not, and he says she's not doing anything, and then he says he doesn't want to do anything. Okay. So depending on what day it is, Larry either says he doesn't want to do it, or he says Libby doesn't want to do it, and then they both say we're tired of the Raiders. Well, fine, you're tired of the Raiders, but you're going to leave money on the table. That's stupid. It is plainly stupid to let. Here's what bothers me, Leo. We have solid evidence of the Raiders acting not in good faith over the last 5 years. Okay?
Yeah, but I understand that. But I told you a few minutes ago, I'm not going to go down speculation lane. There's nothing on the table. If you have no lawsuit going down, I don't care what evidence you have. The evidence is irrelevant. It can't go anywhere because there's no forum for it.
You mean, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, don't you think, look, let me put it this way. I think it's important to lay on the table what the issues are, what the causes of actions are, if only to say, hey, look, we have all of these causes of action, and these stupid so-and-sos are not jumping on it, and they claim to represent the will of the public. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so where do you do that? You're on television right now, or YouTube, or whatever medium you're on.
Yeah.
So lay out the causes of action. Tell me what they are. That Larry Reed and Mayor Libby Schaaf will not take care of the interests of the city of Oakland. And you said it was JPA, right?
I said it's the Coliseum JPA.
So who's on the JPA? Who sits on JPA for the city?
Larry Reed, Lynette Gibson-McElhaney for the city. For the county, it's Nate Miley and Scott Haggerty on that side, and then we have Yuhei Lee.
So that's four people. That's four names you gave me there, and Larry Reed's the only one that you said you couldn't get us go along with it. What about Lynette, and what about Nate Miley?
Lynette goes with Larry, and Lynette has basically not shown up to most of the meetings anyway. So, to the extent that she actually.
So it sounds like you. I don't know to cut you short, but it sounds like to me you got a losing hand, young man.
I agree with you, and that's what I'm trying out to people, because they ask, my viewers are loyal. They ask me what's going on, and one thing I love about having you on is, well, three things. First of all, you got long tenure in the city. Second of all, you are knowledgeable. Third of all, you're plain spoken. Okay, those are the basics.
No, there's a fourth thing.
What's that?
I'm not running for anything.
That's true. You're not even running for dog catcher, which is a cool thing.
I'm not trying to get. The only thing that I love is my city. And you asked me to come on and talk about my city.
That's right. Absolutely.
So I'm not. If I was a city councilman, I would have to say, now, wait a minute, what is it that Larry knows that I would have to be taking the position that he's in? Or the fact that you have Lynette. You got other members on the city council. You got, a Kaplan's position. She's the at-large member.
Rebecca wants to sue.
Three city council votes you're telling me is ignoring this issue, and only Zenny's the only one who understands.
Rebecca wants to sue. So does Noel Gaio. And I'm told Annie Campbell Washington. Well, I haven't been able to confirm that one with Annie.
That would be 3.
And then as well as Desley. I know Desley does favors it too, so that's 4. So I got 4.
Well, you got 4. So how many members of the city council do you need to get a resolution passed
5.
and discussed?
5. I can count 5. I counted 4. I just need 1 more. You know, all I need is I don't care if it's Dan Cowell or Abel.
Well, I don't care. I know you don't care. That's obvious. You don't care. You know that you need 1 vote.
Right.
Where are you going to get 1 more vote? Who's the person? Now, here's the way that I always operated.
Right.
If I've got Larry, or I got 3 or 4 people on the council, and I need 1 more, then I got to start looking around for my team of 4 to find that 5th vote.
Right. Absolutely.
And who would they say most likely is the one who wants to do that? Because at any given time, there's a council member that needs your vote on something, and you then start horse trading. Look, I need this vote on this Raiders deal, and it's not a deal that's going to hurt you in your district. Not like, you're going to lose anything on this, and all we're asking is to put this issue on the table, and what do you mean by that?
Well, Leo, let me ask you. I got to ask you.
Instructs the city attorney to report to us on the possibility of us recovering certain amounts of money pursuant to contracts or agreements that we have with the NFL and the city of Oakland. Period. All in favor, call the motion.
I got to ask you, why do you think they're afraid to sue?
They're not afraid to sue. It's not no skin off of their nose. Why would they be afraid to sue? The city of Oakland is not afraid to sue anybody. That's what the city attorney's job is.
Right.
But we have to have a cause of action that could possibly win. You just don't go out and spend hundreds of millions of dollars, and in many instances it could be that, because the first thing they're going to do is bury you in paper.
Well, here's the thing.
They're going to hire a law firm with 50 lawyers that are going to file 50 different motions, and you are going to have to sit there with your city staff and try to answer all of them, or you're going to have to go out and hire a law firm that has 50 or more lawyers themselves at some exorbitant fee to prove what?
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, because a group of attorneys have come forward and said they want to take the case on contingency. They are that much certain we can win.
Well, good. Then move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Move on.
That's the whole point. But
that's the only reason attorneys get into cases, that after analyzing it, they say we can win, and there's a big payday down at the end of this.
Right, and that's the whole problem right now, is because you still have the county council and the city attorney saying, well, gee, we could still lose and still wind up owing a lot of money, and the attorneys are saying, no, that's not the case. The attorneys don't want to take it on contingency.
Then let them disagree then, because until you get agreement from the city attorney and the county council, you're not going to get the elected officials to do anything. Why? Because elected officials are the policy makers who are waiting for the information from the gatherers of data and information. And you've got one gatherer who says we can win, and they've got 2 that says we can't. And so you've got a frozen city council who will not move when there's no political or public pressure to move.
Hey, so why not the fans taking it up on themselves and having the attorneys sue on contingency, and then forgetting about the politicians?
You can't ask me that. You can't ask me that, because I'm not a part of that. You have to talk to the people that have these attorneys under a retainer.
Well, are you saying you'd like to be involved?
No, I don't practice law. I haven't practiced law 15 years, man. What are you talking about?
I'm just checking. I'm
75 years old, and I'm enjoying being a senior citizen.
What do you
As long
think?
as my city is taken care of, I'm happy. So I'm on 100th Avenue in Oakland, California. Been here for 50 years, and every time I look out my window, if there's peace out there, I'm a happy citizen.
Hey, what do you think of the current mayor?
I don't think of it.
Well, you want to explain that? Whoa.
What do you mean when you ask me what I think of it? You
Yeah.
said I don't think of it.
Everybody has an
On what
opinion.
issue? On what issue?
Running economic development in Oakland. Jobs, housing. You know, how is she doing from your point of view? I gave you an issue.
As far as I can see, everything that you answered, I don't have a problem with. I have a house.
Mm-hmm.
I have a job, or I used to. I'm retired. I don't have any children in school. So a lot of things that I would be concerned about when I was coming up as a council member, when I had children in the schools, and I was worried about this. But the one thing that I am concerned about in my city that I don't like and see is I don't like all these people under the freeway. Where's this homeless thing going to end?
Right. And we didn't have that as much when we had redevelopment, did we?
What do you mean?
Well, we had the ability to use tax increment financing to build affordable housing, which was taken away from us in 2011 without a fight.
Who took it away? Who took it away?
The governor, Jerry, and the
No.
California Supreme Court.
No. Former mayor of Oakland, Jerry Brown, took it away.
Yeah, exactly. The former mayor of Oakland, Jerry Brown, took it away. He used redevelopment.
So why are you going to blame? Why are you going to blame the sitting members of the city council today for the problem that the former mayor didn't even give a damn about on his way to Sacramento?
Because
after all, he used to eat at Esther's Orbit Room, right?
But let me answer your question though. In 2015, Governor Brown very quietly signed into law SB 628 by Jim Beal down there in San Jose, basically allowing the use of tax increment financing for the provision of affordable housing in zones. Basically, it allowed redevelopment to come back. But you realize that when I talk to council members about it, they don't know that this exists. And so we're at this.
Yeah, so they're out of the flow of information.
Yeah, they're out of flow. But what bothers me, Leo, is we have a group of elected officials that don't know how to use the tools of government to move the market. It really bugs me.
Who put them in office?
I didn't.
Who did?
The rest of y'all out there, I'm pointing to cameras. Rest of y'all out there, okay? I mean, I did. Let me put it this way.
Go out there and convince the rest of y'all out there.
Although I will say one thing, I am the one that on May 9th of 2002, May 14th of 2009, I said to Libby she should run for mayor of Oakland, and I said that, and I meant it, and I fought for her to be mayor, and I advocated it, and you know, I'm disappointed.
You won.
Yeah, I won. I feel like I lost too. I won and lost at the same time because I don't feel huh?
What are you, a sore winner?
Yeah, I'm a sore winner. Precisely. I'm a sore winner. You want to characterize it like that? Absolutely. Because I've known Libby for 31, 32 years, and I feel that Libby could do an excellent job, a better job of using government to sculpt jobs and housing for people who can't afford the market rate, okay? And what she and Gene Kwan and to a lesser extent Ron Domes are allowed to have and to come about is this lopsided economic development, the likes of which we've never seen before, but we can do something about. Gap financing.
What lopsided economic development are you speaking of?
I am speaking of an economic development such that those who cannot afford, say,
No, you're going philosophical on me now.
No, I'm not. I'm going philosophical. I'm giving you an answer.
Give me the specific.
I'm giving you an answer.
We're talking about the Bay Area housing market, and we don't have enough housing in the city of Oakland, and you want the mayor to do a better job of bringing housing and jobs to the city. So
that's right.
Tell me what specifically are you talking about?
I am specifically talking about the shortage in jobs we have in what's called the MICE industry. You know what MICE is? It's an acronym.
Nope.
Okay.
Tell me what it is.
MICE is meetings, incentives, entertainment, and conventions and entertainment, excuse me, MICE, okay? that
Okay.
industry consists of convention centers, hotels, meeting places.
Yeah, we call that in my days the hospitality industry.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
go
we
ahead.
basically have let that die in Oakland and the Bay Area. We have a 16,000 hotel room shortage in San Francisco alone, and that plus in the rest of the Bay Area.
No. What are you saying? Are you saying that there's a market for hotel rooms in the Bay Area?
You gotcha. And we have a shortage.
And they should be, being built in Oakland, California.
Yeah, and that's not me saying that. You know what's saying? That's the Hotel Council of San Francisco
I'm asking the questions. I'm asking the questions.
I get you. I get you.
Listen. If there's a market for hotels or hospitality in the Bay Area, there is, because it's a world-class stop.
That's right.
So how do we get people to come to Oakland as opposed to
San Jose?
Because they're going somewhere. They're going somewhere, right?
Well, for one thing, we retain.
So where's that somewhere? Are they going on the peninsula or are they going to Santa Clara? Are they going to San Mateo? Where are we competing with to try to get people to sleep in our hotel rooms if we had the land and the developers to build them?
Well, you basically said it.
Jack London Square.
We
got lots of areas.
Right. You basically said it, though. We don't have the hotel rooms. We're giving up potential to those areas you just mentioned yourself, because those areas are in your mind is already being developed for tourism, okay? But here's the bigger problem. And I sit in an area, this is Atlanta, that does an excellent job of using sports as tourism. Sports as economic development.
No.
It's a better model. Oh yeah. Absolutely. This is the place that does it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why no? Why?
No.
Why? I'm all ears.
I'm not gonna let you compare apples and oranges.
It's not
Atlanta. What is sitting? Where is San Jose? How far is San Jose from Atlanta? How far is San Francisco or Oakland from Atlanta? Do they have two other cities that are sitting out there competing with them in this golden triangle?
Whoa! That's not the point.
In the middle.
That's not the point.
Smack dab in the middle.
That's not the point. No, that's not the point.
World-class airport.
That's not the point I'm making. Okay, and the point that I'm making, if you let me say, all right, is this: it's how you think about the role of sports in your economy. No one in Oakland can rattle off how many jobs are created by the Coliseum activities, what our shortage in terms of events are, and not only that, what our gross domestic product is with respect to sports in Oakland. And we have 3 of the greatest sports organizations in the world active in our city. And you mean to tell me that we can't recite that? However, in Atlanta, they can. What that means is this: when you understand the value of sports in your region, okay, then you understand what edifices are needed to, keep them there, what they cost, and how to properly finance them, even if it takes not using public money. We don't do that. We don't put any intellectual horsepower to that at all. And as you've agreed to me already in this segment, intellectual horsepower drives policy, okay?
Right.
No horsepower, no movement. We've done nothing, okay? And it is shameful. And that's why I say our government is lazy, Leo. And I worked there.
Well,
my first job out of grad school was with the Oakland Redevelopment Agency. I worked for George Williams. We had great days down there. Austin Penny and all those guys. You know those guys, all right?
Yeah.
We did great stuff. You were there. We got the federal building in Oakland. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember all of it.
Yeah.
But again, I'm talking about what was happening in terms of the economic dynamics that we were in. I don't know what the economic dynamics are in the Bay Area. When I left office, I was warning everybody that Oakland was in danger of becoming a hole in a donut. What was the donut? All around us was all this economic development that was taking place in Silicon Valley and San Francisco in the 680 corridor. Mm-hmm. What was Oakland going to do? All we were doing is being the hub. Yep. Everything was spinning off of us.
Around
the only
us.
thing that we really had going is government jobs.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's it. And we remember how we almost lost the federal building, and then George Williams, pulled a rabbit out of his hat and got the federal building for us away from San Francisco. We did a lot of great things then.
George didn't pull shit out of his hat. George was handed something. I was there.
You want tell us about it? What happened? What happened? What
I was the
happened, man?
council member that changed the form of government. I put it on the ballot to change the form of government to a strong mayor form of government because the deep state was running things and they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Why? Because how the hell are you going to tell somebody to go from undergraduate school and get a master's degree in public administration, stick them in a city manager's office, and all of a sudden they're telling the tourist industry how to run their business? Based on what? Some European sociologists or philosophers that he read? Come on, man.
Hey, here's the thing. We had at one point, in fact, when I tried to bring the Super Bowl here, I had a great task force, and we went from 11 cities to Jacksonville, Oakland, and Miami. Leo, no one gave me a shot. I remember Jane Bruner saying to me, she said this September 16th, 1999 at 1:30 in the afternoon. I know because I was pissed off when she said it to me, so I never forgot it. She said, as I'm walking by her on the City Hall Plaza, we never thought you'd get this far. And here she's like the District 1 council member standing in my way, and only Robert Bob was my champion. Okay?
Well,
I mean, my point is that I can recite the number of instances where we could have gotten great things in Oakland only to watch, me personally, our own bureaucracy stand in the way. It was horrible, man. And elected officials too. It's like they don't have any energy. It's all, and when they do have the energy of late, it's like, okay, no, we don't want you to do this. It's always no.
all right, so what's your solution?
My solution is we start all over again. We basically say, hey, you know what? Our current structure of government's not getting the job done.
No. See, again, you start talking about the structure, and I asked you what was the problem, and you started telling me about all these individuals. And then when I asked you for solutions, you said the solution is structure.
Yeah, but I can't look. You can't just
what's
say.
What's wrong with the structure that these individuals can abuse everybody the way you're saying we're being abused?
Oh God, you got another hour? I don't. But the whole point is, that's for another show. I mean, my point is that it's not easy to, let me put it this way. Saying, just throw,
in a self-governing democracy where the citizens make the decisions about who makes the policy and spend their tax money, why are the citizens so apathetic and don't know what you know?
But you tell me. No, hold on. I got a question for you. You tell me that
there are a group of people that know, and that you were one of them.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You tell me why that's the case, because I don't get it. Why is it that we have a group? Because you're 75, okay? You've been around politics. Why in the heck? You said it. Do we have a group of people who are apathetic? Why?
Because they're allowed living their life and they don't know what's going on in City Hall. They don't even know who their representatives are.
So basically you're saying that they don't know or they don't care?
They don't know.
But they care? But they care?
Don't know is ignorant.
Right.
Can't know is dumb.
But do they
don't
care?
Don't want to know is stupid.
But you're saying they care.
Now, if you want me to call people stupid, yeah, they are. Until their ox is being gored, you never hear them come down to City Hall. And when their ox is being taken care of, they will never come back to City Hall again.
That was
and when they do come to City Hall, and they're opposed to something, guess what they'll do? They say, I'm opposed to that because of this, that, and the other. And you say, oh, you gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this, that, and the other. Let's put it over into a committee, and we'll come back next week, and we'll go through those. Okay, so when we come back next week, we say, oh, okay, well, we had 5 oppositions, but now we've cut them down to 3, and those 2 that used to be there, they're satisfied now. So let's go back another week and work with these other 3. Well, when we get it all the way down to 6, 10, 40, whatever number of weeks, we finally bring a recommendation, and all of those people that wanted us to fix those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, they still are opposed, and it didn't matter for us to spend all of that time to come to something that they were never going to be for. And as soon soon as their issue is taken care of, they disappear, and you never see them again until their ox is gored again.
Yep.
So you get no continuity. So the only way you get continuity is the people that are the inner state, what do you call it, the deep state, that get the flow of information and keep that continuity. They're the only ones that know what they want to do.
So wait, are you saying that I'm part of the deep state?
You were.
Thank you.
You said you worked for George Williams and all of them.
I did.
In the bureaucracy,
No,
right?
I like that. That's a red badge. I like that. I'll take that. Remember, I'll create my own deep state.
I'm not making it a badge. I told you when I came on here, I'm not running for anything, so I'm just giving you my opinion. You
No, I like it. I like
it.
it. But here's the thing. You were there when this happened. The Loma Prieta earthquake of 1989. And
yep. Worst thing that happened in the city in all of my time was here. That and that fire.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember how Rock Ridge was affected, and then you had this group that wanted to basically secede out of Oakland and all that?
Yeah, they've always wanted to do that. I mean, you know, as Oakland got blacker, you know, all those folks wanted to have their own little Shattuck Avenue enclave, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I'm glad you said that. Do you think that kind of economic racism is gone now?
No, this is America. What makes you think it's gone? I told you, just like Dinesh D'Souza wrote that book, The End of Racism, mm-hmm. I was pissed. I said, man, how the hell did racism end and nobody told me? I would have had the biggest damn party. God. The end of racism. That's just as foolish as the people talk about America, the post-racial America.
Post-racial. Yeah, I never signed on to that.
Area here, the post-racial America. I'm so glad Charlottesville came along because there's nowhere in the world that niggas are supposed to go to sleep in America thinking that this is over. It is not over. And if you didn't notice, the people in Charlottesville, they were all young and they were wearing khakis and polo shirts.
I noticed. Hey, what do you think about what Kanye West said about slavery being a choice?
Kanye's a fool, but, you know, it gives us a chance to put the issue on the table. It'll only last a week because next week we'll be talking about the color of Stormy Brooks's panties or whatever.
Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, Stormy Daniels. I'm sure next week they'll have, you know, she'll be selling something at Victoria's Secrets or something. I don't know. It's a crazy country we're in right now. Okay. Diversion and distraction.
Now, there are 11 people running for mayor. I'm not sure you know who's running or not, but let me ask you this. What's your advice for anybody running for office in Oakland this time around? Be it councilman or mayor?
Don't do it.
Oh, you sound like Elihu. Why do you say that?
What are you going to do it for?
Well, because you care.
I care. I still care, but I wouldn't run for office again. I tell you that. The public is too fickle. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's exactly what.
So everybody wants more services. Everybody wants the homeless taken care of. Everybody wants all these things, but nobody wants to raise the taxes to pay them. But I'll say one thing about my city and the people here in my years. Mm-hmm. They were always willing to vote for things that would improve the city, even if it put a little bit more taxes on us, on our properties. True. And everything.
Absolutely.
So we've been very progressive and good. But see, the problem is everybody thinks the city should be in the social services business. That's because they don't know how government works. They don't know how it's structured.
Right.
Alameda County is the social services agency, not the city. We pick up garbage and sweep the streets and take care of the police and fire. We don't take care of homeless and hospitals and first aid and all these kinds of things. That's the county's responsibility. So you say, well, why can't we get the county government and city government together? Because we have all these damn political subdivisions. Mm-hmm. Well, the only thing that Oakland was capital of was government jobs. We have what? Look at the elected entities headquartered in Oakland. Mm-hmm. School board.
Yep. Are you saying
throughout the college?
Are you saying you don't like the district election system Oakland has?
BART, AC Transit, Parks District.
Leo, should we get rid of the district election system Oakland has? What about ranked choice voting?
Oh, I like that ranked trustworthy, and I like district elections because I was the guy who pushed for district elections. You just started a minute ago going down on the structural needs of the city with the correct individuals that are in. But I got there in city council and found out I was not a policymaker, or if I was one of five, and I had to go get four other people who don't do their homework to go along with me. I said, we got to change this. So I put it on the ballot. We got 46% of the vote. I only spent 10 grand to get it on there, and I couldn't do it. Why? Because race. Let me put it straight up. White liberals with their flaky asses was afraid of the fact that a black man might be the mayor of Oakland with that kind of power. Oh no, we don't need that. But lo and behold, as soon as I leave, after we lose on that, lo and behold, who comes in but Mr. White Flaky himself, Jerry Brown? Oh, no, I'm not going to be mayor of this city without a strong mayor form of government. And what did they do? All of a sudden, strong mayor was acceptable. And I said, no, ain't this a
That's
bit?
true.
So,
that is true. I mean, folks, Leo is not sugarcoating it. That is the 1,000,000% truth. Elihu we called it Measure F, strong mayor, and then Jerry's version of strong mayor was Measure X. And it was basically the same. In fact, I wrote for the Montclarian at the time, and Warren Chip Brown was the publisher. I got my column yanked because I wrote in favor of Elihu's strong mayor. And yet the same Montclarian, after I was gone, turned around and supported Jerry's version of it. And for those of you who don't know Oakland, the Montclarian was thought of as the news organization that represented the White Hills of Oakland. So for them to have
the Montclarian was its name,
right,
named after the area in the Oakland Hills, and it just used to disgust me to be in a render and see my white friends from Oakland say, oh, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a so and so, and where do you work? Oh, and I do it. And where do you live? Oh, I live in Montclair.
Yep, as opposed to Oakland. And
I live in Montclair. No. You live in Oakland, and Montclair is in Oakland. But see, they didn't act that way. They had their own little newspaper and their own little school thing up there, and the whole bit. And nobody had any problem with that being the Republican enclave up there for a long time. You see?
Yeah, no, I remember.
So I know what you're talking about with Chip and the whole Montclarian deal.
Yeah, and people thought, hey, Montclair's got a black columnist, me, right? And so it was really fun to be in the position that I was in. Wow, there's so much I could say about that. I don't want to take up this time saying it, but except to say that it was really annoying to see people do exactly what you just talked about, who lived in the hills there. They would never say, I live in Oakland. They would say their district, but they wouldn't say Oakland. And they would have friends come over from San Francisco to visit them. And they would always tell me about how the friends would say, I didn't know this was Oakland. And I would say, why didn't you tell them they were coming to Oakland? Why didn't you just go along with the charade? This is all Oakland. I went to Skyline High, Leo. Class of 80 graduate.
I went to Fremont.
See, okay. See, we
There was no Skyline High School when I went to high school.
Yeah, but there was still a Fremont, and we still kicked Fremont's butt. As Skyline kicked Fremont's butt in football when I was at Skyline. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, there was no Skyline High School didn't exist. I graduated from Fremont High School in 1960. I think the Skyline High School first year was 62.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there was no Fremont High School in my day was Skyline in your day.
Wow, that's interesting.
It was the premier academic school in the city of Oakland's 5 high school system.
And then when I graduated from Skyline, we were the premier.
No. When they built Skyline High School, all of the Hill kids didn't have to come down to Fremont and Castlemont anymore because they had their own little private enclave up there.
Right.
And you couldn't get there unless you could make that bus trip.
Right. And that's exactly right. And in my case, we had Skyline was the main feeder school to Cal. And
right.
That was, you wanted to meet your A through F requirements at Berkeley, you got into Skyline. And there were people using all
No, you're forgetting one. See, we have 2 school systems in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
You're forgetting Bishop O'Dowd. We
That's
have a
right.
Catholic school system,
That's right.
and we have a
yeah.
public school system.
I stand corrected. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I cannot.
And isn't it wonderful how all of the black middle class abandoned the public schools and moved into the Catholic system, and then the bishop, I remember his name now, but he came and he says, Leo, he says, we would be dead in here in Oakland if it wasn't for the black Protestants, he says, because I got a Catholic school system. I got a Catholic school system with 70% black Protestants in it. And they're not tithing on Sunday.
Oh my God. Oh my.
No, you laugh, but that's part of what happened to the deterioration of the public schools itself.
Right.
Because all of the middle class kids fled to Oakland public schools.
No, I'm not, but look, I'm not laughing ha ha ha. I'm laughing like ha ha ha, that hurts. Okay? Yeah, I mean, it's awful what's happened to the school system there. But I want to ask you, while we're on the matter, or the subject matter of Oakland government, what should be done about the police system? Because we've been in receivership for how long? It seems like, I mean, quite literally almost 2 decades. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, you're going to be that way. But going back to the public schools,
yeah,
I proposed that we change the strongman form of government because I didn't like the way the government was structured and the flow of information. I proposed that the mayor take over the Oakland public schools because they were over there being inundated by 11 bargaining units. I proposed that. See, so that the school district was, what did you just ask me about? There was,
I just asked you about
the police department.
Police. Yeah.
Oh, the police department. Well, that one I'm not going to touch.
Whoa.
Because the police are untouchable.
Wait. Riddle me this. The same organization that was responsible for the violation of Celeste Guap is untouchable?
No. Yes. See, again, you asked me about them. I told you I had reforms for all of the institutions in Oakland. Then when you bring me to the police department, I stopped. And I stopped because the Oakland Police Officers Association is the bargaining unit for the police officers. And until you break the OPOA, you are never going to get anything done in terms of reform. If you don't believe me, ask the federal judge, Stelton Henderson.
That's true. Hey, isn't he pulling down like $2 million a year off us or something like that?
Who?
Henderson. Some high salary or something like that?
I do not know. Again, I told you when I come on here, I am not into all of these issues. I don't know what they're doing. All I know is that the institution of the federal courts have been wrangling with the OPOA. Those officers pay a lot of money to their lawyers and everybody else to keep things being pushed back. And so far, how many years has it been?
Since 2001, I believe. Something like that?
Yeah, well, if you want to talk to police, my advice, the person that I take the most advice from is JB. John Burris.
Okay, yeah, great man. Fantastic lawyer. An Oakland legend in law. Used to be on...
a classmate of mine.
Oh, is that right? No, John Burris is a class act. Straight up.
Yep, no doubt about it. So if you want to know what's happening with the Oakland police, I would have to step aside and let John Burris answer that question.
Do me a favor. Tell John, do me a favor. Hey, Leo, help me get John on this show.
I don't know. I mean, I forgot we were on a show. I was talking to you on the phone.
Oh, this is a show, man. It's like, yeah.
And plus, I don't know who's even listening. So all these things you're telling me, I'm assuming that the 100 million people all over the world is on one of these devices listening to this and care about it and know what I'm talking about. They don't even know who John Burris is, probably.
Well, some do. And not only that, this goes beyond. When the live stream goes off, it becomes what's called a video on demand, so it lasts forever. So, people be replaying this again and again and again for a long time. Hundreds of times a day, literally. So, yeah. Yeah,
well, do they know who Oscar Grant is?
Everybody on this channel knows who Oscar Grant is. Yes, absolutely. Everybody.
And Oscar Grant is a movie about somebody being shot at BART station.
You're talking about Fruitvale Station. That's the movie version.
Well, who is Melvin Black?
Melvin Black is, oh man, Tell us who Melvin Black is, Leo.
The brother before Oscar Grant, they got killed by the Oakland police way back when. It's been happening for, look, since I walked the streets of East Oakland in the 50s and the 60s, the Oakland police have been killing black people. Where do you think Huey and Bobby and all of us came from? What do you think we were fighting against? We've been fighting against the Oakland Police Department since the 1950s. And you guys jump up and go, oh, well, what about the Oakland police? I just laugh.
So what
You're
are you
not gonna be
saying?
able to do anything about the Oakland police.
So what are you saying? It's like a 1,000-year war, like the Arabs and the Israelis or something?
I said it started after we got out of slavery, where they didn't free us, they turned us loose. And the police and the black community have been at it ever since. And I'm just so glad that I lived long enough to see these little cameras and these little computers in our pockets now that we can start filming this so white America can see. The prison industrial complex has been murdering black people since the beginning of Reconstruction. So
yeah,
this
but
is
at some point it should end, right? I mean, in other words, why does it have to go on for our lifetimes?
It
Why,
will always go on. Oppression will always go on as long as the oppressed stand for it. You resist. This is what the 10-point program was about, the resistance to the Oakland police doing what they're doing to us. The year before, Huey and all of them started the Panthers right down at Merritt College when I was the Black Student Union president, 1966. When Huey and all of them went up to Sacramento, all of that was about the police, the Oakland police.
So wait, are you saying to me that Kanye was right and that slavery was a choice? If you're saying that oppression will go on as long as the oppressed...
I'm saying that Kanye is a fool, but I think the fact that he's a celebrity fool and he's put the issue on the table now, we can discuss it. So what do you want to talk about? No, it wasn't a choice. Yeah, it was a choice to live or die.
In today's context,
and don't you understand that our ancestors chose to live so that we as a generation could be here today? We should be the generation that our ancestors sighed for and took all of the bullshit for and all the other troubles they went through. But here we have now a bunch of little wimpies running around here talking about, my space, and I want to save space, and go microaggressions and all this nonsense. This is a war. We're at war. These people have been killing us since we have been here, and they are still killing us. Post-racial my ass. I was so glad that God responded by pulling those dregs up from Charlottesville so that we could finally see they're still out there. And guess what? You damn fools, while you're sitting around worrying about who the hell's on television and all the other bullshit, they've now taken over the White House.
You know, it reminds me of what it reminds me of what Quincy Jones said in an interview earlier this year. He said that the Lord is putting us through all this in our face, Charlottesville, Trump, and saying, do something about it. What do you think about that?
Do something about it?
Yeah.
Who are we talking about doing something about? The Republican Party. Let me tell you what the coalition of the Republican Party is. The REs. That's the Republican establishment. They used to run things. The white shoe guys, the George Bushes, the country club crowd that wouldn't have anything to do with a lowlife like Donald Trump because you couldn't get into their elitist club, right?
Right.
But the thugs, so the RE and the THUG, the re-thugs. Who are the thugs? That's the talk radio crowd and the Hannitys and all these people on the Fox News and everything sit up there whipping up these ignorants out here.
Rush Limbaugh.
So you got the re-thug and the LI. So the re-thug Lee. Who is the re-thug? Who is the LI? The LI is the libertarians.
Right.
The flakes who say, oh, yeah, I'll smoke a joint with you, but I don't want the government interfering with us, and therefore I ought to be able to discriminate in my restaurant if I want to.
Right. Which is why I thought liberalism, well, not libertarianism, was a joke. Completely.
And then you got the KKK. So you got the Republic, the K comes in, the KKK. So you got the Republican establishment, the thug, the radio talk show thugs. You got the libertarians, and then you got the KKK. That's all of the boys who are the haters and the ignorance, the basement breeding, the bottom breeding segment of America, which is a big segment we can talk about if you want to. And then you got the GUN. So you got the Republicans. The Republicans are the controlling coalition. And each one of those elements in that group tries to ignore the KKK part of that coalition. But for years, they were the junior partners, but now they finally said, we've had enough of the junior partner bullshit, and they're stepping up, and they are now the senior partners of the coalitions. And the REs, the Republican establishment, the Bushes and the white shoe boys, they're embarrassed, but they can't go anywhere. They're trapped.
And they're basically... Leo, I ask you, Leo, don't you think they're being set up for slaughter in terms of the election this fall? That the Republicans are basically... Don't you think the Republicans are being set up for slaughter in the election this fall? Heck, forget this fall.
No, the Republicans, look, if Trump doesn't get indicted, Trump is going to win re-election.
With an indictment?
No, I said if he doesn't get indicted.
Oh, if he doesn't get an indictment, okay. Because that indictment's looking like...
If he doesn't get indicted and get pulled out of office, Trump is going to run for re-election and he's going to win.
Why you say that?
Oh, because you want to dream again. You know, there you go.
No, I'm asking you.
We're awake now. We're awake now.
I'm asking you.
You remind me of white liberals in 1968 when we had been telling them all these years that bull counters and the police and everything was kicking our ass and our enemy, and they didn't believe us. Oh, you guys always exaggerating, playing that.
I want to know why. I want to know why.
They took their asses to Chicago.
I want to know why you think Donald Trump will win.
Beat the shit out of them.
I want to know why you think Donald Trump will win with all this stuff. I mean, I have my own theory, okay? I have my own theory, but I want to hear your theory, Leo. I want to know why you think that's the case.
No theory. This is America. I got proof for America. What do you have for your theory?
America?
Besides a wish.
No, excuse me. You hear what I said? I didn't say America. I said America. Not America. America. My point is this.
No,
there's a silent majority out. There's a silent...
A-M-E-R.
America.
A-M-E-R-I-K-K-A. That's the way I spell America.
Right. My point is there is a silent group out there that sides with Trump. They don't say anything until they get to the ballot box and they vote him in, or people who think like him. But here's my point. You have 40 Republicans that are not running for re-election.
So what?
Who's going to replace them? More liberal
Another
Republicans?
Republican?
Worse, you think?
Another Republican?
Or people who are not Republican in name only, who are really, really right-wing? Is that what you're saying to me? And you think they're going to win?
I'm telling you, the battle in America is what it has always been, about white supremacy. And I don't give a damn what your political observations are or your political inclination, conservative or liberal, you are never going to beat white supremacy. That's why Hillary got her ass kicked, because the Republican women, who are these Republican women? College-educated, Ivy League, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Ivy League suburban housewives did not go with her. Why did they go with her? They went with their brothers, the pussy grabbers, and their daddies, the cheaters on their mothers. And guess what they did? Went right down there and voted for the tribe because they did not want you niggers, minorities, and gays and lesbians and LGBTQs and all these other queers from the coast to coast. You guys better stop flying from New York to Los Angeles and think that's America, and get in your car and drive across this country sometime and figure out that there's another America out there that's going to whoop your ass again in the Electoral College.
So basically, you're saying we don't need to vote, just stay at home and do nothing.
No, I'm not. I'm saying resist and fight. That's what I do every day. If you are disarming yourself and think that all I got to do is get somebody to go out there and vote, no. There are people in this country that are asleep.
I agree.
And they are not.
I agree.
They are not awake. They don't know what the issues are. They're trying to live day to day. But the folks that want to hold on to this system, man, they're on that Twitter and all that other stuff that you guys got right now. That's why Trump doesn't give a damn. He said, I got 40% of this country that the Russians helped me to identify, and I can talk to them every night. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm taking a shit on the toilet, and and pump all kind of foolishness out to them, and they go for it.
Hey, I told
He told you,
hey,
I
Leo,
could shoot the Pope in Times Square and nobody would convict me.
I told Donna Brazile in 2016 by email, I told her that the Republicans had a more organized and focused social media campaign than we did, and that they were putting out news that wasn't true, and she didn't believe me. The head of the Republican National Committee didn't follow up. Nobody. They even made it so I couldn't even get a press credential, and here I am to this day, Leo. I'm on the White House press list, covered the land of Air Force One, covered President Obama's speeches, and yet my own party did not let me in my own convention because I was an Obama backer in 2008 and 2012. I'll be honest with you, I was happy the Clinton people got theirs because they handled everything wrong. They thought their path.
Well, the Clinton people didn't get theirs. Clinton people didn't get theirs, and it wasn't about the Clintons or the Democrats. It was about America.
But Leo, my point was that Leo, my point
of immature politicians.
But Leo, I want you to hear this. My point is that the Clinton people thought that their path to the White House was paved in gold, and they were just going to walk right on in, and it was theirs to have. No one.
Well, they didn't.
Okay, and I said, hey, you know what? You have no idea how much behind the eight ball we are. And it's,
okay, so what are we going to do in a few more days in America when elections come around?
I still say the Democrats are not organized. We're not organized in social media. We really haven't learned anything. And not only that, we're fighting among ourselves.
Again, you keep talking about social media as though the Democrats can organize social media.
No, we don't.
Don't you understand?
No. You didn't hear what I said. You didn't hear what I said. You didn't hear what I said. I said that we're asleep. I said that we're asleep as Democrats regarding social media. I said we don't get it. We don't have as good a program as the Republicans do, even to this day. That's what I said.
I know that, but again, social media is the party. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. The Democrats and Republicans are irrelevant. All parties came about for one reason, to bring information to the voters or to the populace.
Right. That's
what the party's idea. We don't need parties anymore. People get all the information they want right now in the palm of their hands. And most of that information we're finding out, Donna Brazile and all of them are finding out, was robotic bullshit that the Russians were targeting to the loonies of America.
Right. Absolutely.
And so you got to learn how to target the loonies. You don't need to worry about the party. Hell, any party files you pull together, somebody's going to hack them anyway.
Yeah, but look, Leo, a well-run party should not be led by such a force. It should be leading the force, okay?
Yeah, but how are you going to have a well-round party out of all of those elements? I just gave you the elements of the Republican Party. The Republican establishment who ran things all their way for all these years and ran it in the ground. The thugs, that ain't nothing but those truck drivers driving them big semis across Oklahoma and Kansas and all those places. Remember the old shortwave radio breaker guys?
Yeah.
They're listening to Rush Limbaugh and all these people all day long. All of these pieces of that coalition, those guns, the NRA, and the libertarians and all of them, they're getting ready to consume each other because they can't come together around anything in the Republican Party.
Wait. I gotta ask you a question because one of my viewers.
He's sitting there with his 40% on the computer, and he's locked them in. They can't do anything. Now you do this for me. Break down the Democratic Party to me. What are the coalitions in the Democratic Party?
I got one of my viewers put out a question. I gotta ask. He says, "What about the Parkland students and the youth uprising that they've established?" And that really is a great question. You got to put them in.
It is a great question because all of the struggles in America, if you stop and think about it, all of us in the 60s, everybody talks about, oh, you guys were great warriors in the 60s, but they also forget that we were also teenagers.
Yep.
Our struggle started in Little Rock, Arkansas, when 9 teenagers had to be escorted into the building of the school building by the National Guard. And in 1960, when 4 students, right out of college, right into a freshman class in South Carolina, sat down at a lunch counter, that was us. In Sharpeville, in South Africa, those were kids. So it's always been kids that step out. But they're going to get co-opted because you got to get organized. Well, maybe they've got a better chance than we had because they have something. We had mimeograph machines. They've got social media. So I pray for them and I wish them luck because they're the only ones who can take this on before they start getting the mortgages and the school loans and everything else that makes them a part of the establishment.
In other words, mugged by reality, right?
Well, as usual, yeah. As long as they can resist it, that's fine. And it'll bring about a change. But again, if you're trying to break the NRA, you're not fighting the NRA. You are fighting the world's arms dealers. The NRA is just a local chapter of the world's arms dealers. And these people are part of that oligarchy that does not lose very many battles around the world.
Hey, shifting gears just a little bit, because we could talk about this all night long, but how much time you got before, because this is really great. I mean, this is probably one of the two best shows I've had, period. And that's saying a lot.
Well, if you are still on the air, that is good. But again, you can edit all of this stuff.
No, it's not edited. Leo, nothing is edited. Nothing is edited. This is straight away. This is live. Nothing's edited.
Again, I told you, don't spend time talking to me about this technology. I don't know about it, and I don't care.
No, this is someone will say, "My God, you're the man I heard on Zenny's show the other night." This is live.
So if you have to go, let's go.
Oh,
then
I don't have to go. No, I was checking on you.
I'm sitting at home in my house. I'm watching the basketball game on the television set here while we're talking. So okay. I'm good.
All right. Then riddle me this: why is it that we have a situation where, in your opinion, we have the Oakland fire problem with the warehouses? We have all these warehouses we didn't even monitored. People look the other way, and all of a sudden, 36 people die. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I still feel like we haven't done anything in Oakland.
And that's why I said anybody that wants to run for mayor or city council or any local elected office are damn fools. Because why would you want to go out there and have to solve that kind of problem? You asked me if I was running for office, I was running for mayor. Well, Leo, what would you do about the fire situation and everything? I would say, well, first of all, I would have to go back to the market. Why are all these people jammed up in the building? Because there's no place to live. And when they're jammed up in the building, and I don't even know that they're there, and they're pulling all these jerry-rig this and jerry-rig that, what should I do? Go there and kick them out and throw them out on the street, or leave them there? Well, we know that they're there, but we got some other things to do, and we got to have a meeting and whatever. So every time a tragedy starts, then everybody jumps up again, outraged, and they want everything to change. But nobody's dealing with the fact that the housing market in the Bay Area is what it is. And I didn't create the law of supply and demand, but it is a reality. And all of my socialist friends, unfortunately, never want to deal with market forces. They just want to deal with Fabian socialism and dream about Marxist theories and all that other bullshit. No. It's about who's going to build the housing to house people. Who's going to build the housing? The government?
Oh, you're asking me. Okay. I thought it was a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
All right. Who will build the housing?
The government?
The government provides gap financing.
No. But if the government builds the housing, where are they going to get the money?
You marshal the taxes that are normally collected.
The taxes. In other words, you just went into my pocket. Now you got my attention.
No. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me finish about your pocket. Okay. Let me explain. I'm glad you said that. Okay.
Right. You say you marshal the taxes. All right.
I would marshal your property taxes.
We won't get new police cars this year.
No, that's not true. No. You know how this works. We take all the property tax we normally spend. Do you know how a property tax dollar is divided in Oakland? Part of it goes to BART, part of it goes to AC Transit, part of it goes to the school district through the state, which we don't really see as much of as we should.
Since we don't have the 20% tax increment anymore, tell me where we're going to get the money for housing.
I would reinstitute the tax increment under Senate Bill 628 BL. I would have largest.
You would do that, or would the legislature have to do that?
No, legislature doesn't have to do that because it's already signed into law. That's what I was trying to tell you, Leo. We can do this tomorrow. The Oakland City Council has no will to do it. We could establish.
Tell me about it. I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar with.
I will tell you. Okay.
I'm not familiar with. Tell me about it.
Under SB 628 bill, which was signed into law September 14th, 2015 by Governor Brown, former mayor of Oakland, the city can establish an investment zone, a reinvestment zone, which allows the use of tax increment financing for the provision of affordable housing and the improvement of infrastructure within that zone. There is no at all restriction on how big that zone could be. It could be the entire flatlands.
No. I'm not. You're talking about how big the zone could be, but just tell me where's the money? Where's the money? What's the source of the money to do this once we get the zone?
The source of the money is the property tax money that we collect that normally we have to split with everybody else. We collected, we sculpted.
Right.
No. Hey, Leo.
The old tax increment program, it works the same way that out of every dollar, we're taking money out of the county's coffers to put in ours.
No, we don't take it. We just engineer a pass-through. I used to design that for the redevelopment agency. But remember something. Henry Gardner said it best. We use redevelopment, and you know this. We use redevelopment in East Oakland to get rid of crack houses, all right? We sculpted our program to a fare thee well. We had arguably the best redevelopment management system in the entire state of California, and we let it go by the wayside. We need to rebuild it and reshape our city, and we haven't done that. This city, Oakland.
Again, for your audience, I understand how tax increments worked. I don't know how it works today and what you're talking about.
Same way.
How it would be able to work. Because we have to get a source of income. Our source of income was
property tax.
The difference between the value of the property when we established the redevelopment area and whatever it was, the difference between that did not go into the county coffers anymore. No. It came into the redevelopment agency. And then we took those funds and we leveraged them into revenue bonds.
Guess what? Right. Or
and then we took the revenue bonds and we made the project. So explain to your audience and to me where the capital is going to come from under this program that you just told me about.
Because Proposition 13 has not been rewritten, the same mathematics work. It's the same, okay? It doesn't change.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it, Leo. All we have to do...
No, I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking you to tell me. I'm the mayor. You talk to me like I'm the mayor and you want me to adopt this program. Now you tell me where my revenue is going to come from to do what it is that you want me to do. And that's what I want to do too.
Mr. Mayor, I'll tell you, Mr. Mayor, your revenue is coming from your dramatically increasing year to year property tax rates, which allow us over the new lease rules that we've established to have 99-year-long redevelopment project areas as opposed to the old one, right? And have a much greater bonding capacity than ever before and a better and more complete control of our money than ever before without the same restrictions that we had in the past. That's the beauty.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is good for Oakland because you said Governor Brown signed it because he's the guy who wrecked the redevelopment thing in the first place.
And he admits that he admits that it was a mistake. He admits that was a mistake.
Of course, all right. So now I'm asking you, what mistake are we about to make again? Because you're asking me to commit my city to housing, and I'm not going to commit my city to housing by going into debt through these bonds unless I know this is going to be a success. So
I'm not.
Whoa!
Time out, Mr. Mayor.
I like what I'm hearing.
Time out, Mr. Mayor. I'm not asking you to commit the city to just housing. I'm saying commit the city to a full comprehensive economic development program that recognizes the need to build jobs for those who are not in the tech industry. Jobs in, for example, hospitality, jobs in manufacturing, jobs in the common traditional service industries.
Wait.
And also small business.
Manufacturing what? Manufacturing what? Jobs in manufacturing. Manufacturing what?
Bicycles, 3D plastics. Here's my point. I am not going to forecast how to spend that money. I want to do it through a small business evaluation system that sends to us a section of Oakland businesses that need financing, startups that allow us to play, if you will, the role of venture capital, not alone grants, okay? and then match them with other Oakland entrepreneurs in our city who are already active, kind of like the score system we used to have for small business, right? And grow a manufacturing system based around our businesses that has jobs.
Manufacturing what? What is the market to manufacture? I understand manufacturing, but what market will we manufacture to? What product are we going to bake? Where is my job for my high school graduates that are coming out of Fremont and Skyline and everything else and not going on to college? And that's another thing that industry that we also have a part of. Community colleges and stuff. We're not using
part of it's traditional organizations building, as I mentioned, bikes. Other parts of it are new industries, like for example, cannabis, which you've been involved in, I might add. In fact, you've been.
So if we start a market for bicycles, what's to keep the Koreans and the Chinese from undercutting us?
That is where the financing comes in that allows the business to afford to establish production in such a way that it is not onerous on the business owner. Okay. In other words, working capital.
What about the livable wage ordinance that says everybody has to make $15 to $20 an hour to be able to live here in Oakland?
That's not an impediment, because as long as the city is in a position where it is financing businesses in an area where venture capitalists are always looking for opportunities, we're better positioned.
Why wouldn't the private sector venture capitalists come in? Why do you need the government to do that? Why wouldn't the private people come in if there's capital to be made?
Let me finish, okay? My point is, anytime you have a matching program, government providing assistance to small business in an area where venture capitalists are looking for opportunities to invest where they can get a bang for their buck back, they're going to come. Right. They're going to come automatically to a government program like the one that I'm talking about. That is just fact, backed by.
Not fact.
No, it's fact.
Show me where. Show me a demonstration project. Where does that work?
DARPA created the internet. Okay, so I mean, that's just one big example. DARPA was a defense program, Leo. So
I understand that.
All right. So my point is, I mean, that's just one of a number of examples, and we live in an area where government has caused the growth.
You said DARPA was a government program.
Yeah.
Which government? Which government?
Federal. My point.
Okay,
but my
I'm
point.
The mayor. You're talking to the municipal mayor and giving me. When I asked you for an example of a program,
don't give me that garbage about, well, because it's local, you can't use that example. Come on, man.
No,
you can have the same.
I'm saying, where's the money going to come from? I know where the federal government gets their money.
This is the efficient.
Where am I going to get my DARPA money from?
This is the efficient use of tax increment financing within a zone that has a limited number of businesses. And for example, parts of West Oakland, parts of East Oakland. We're talking about only Oaklanders, by the way. We're not talking about everybody.
And how many jobs?
You know, I don't know the answer to that specifically. I can calculate it later, but I'm not going to pop off something off the top of my head because I want to be able to sit down and calculate it. All right. But I know
you don't want to be guilty of the sports people who can't tell you how many jobs are being produced.
Yeah, that's right. Now, my point is, thank you. My point is, it's the direction that we've never taken. We've forgotten how to do economic development in this town. And what we're talking about are the nuts and bolts of that.
First of all, that's another thing. If I had been able to stay there long enough, or if I had been elected mayor, I was going to get rid of the redevelopment agency because I didn't like the part of it.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted if I wanted development in my city, I wanted people that were developers, not redevelopers.
That's. What do you mean by that? Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I want to hear this. What do you mean?
If I'm looking to develop, I'm going to work with developers, and I want people who talk like developers and understand what developers do.
But when you say redevelopers, because I haven't heard that term before.
Redevelopments are government people that came out of public administration school.
I get you. Right, you're right.
Don't the shit from apple butter about developing anything.
We used to call it, and I used to say and a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name, but he would always say, Zenny, the one thing I like about you is that you get it, and you're not trying to play developer with public money. And I know I'm not saying that at all. The whole point is to allow, again, it's steering the market. Developers represent the market, but you steer the market where you want it to go, and that is where money comes in.
They don't represent the market. Developers represent people that play in the market.
Yeah, what's the
If
difference?
you want them to play, they'll play in the redevelopment market. As long as you play by their rules.
But here's the point, though.
Control and constraints on them.
But with redevelopment, it allows us to have control of the game. Okay, that's the beauty of redevelopment. Tax increment financing.
The beauty of development is whoever has the money is in control.
Exactly.
So if we've got the money, of course we're in control.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
So that's why I'm asking you, where is the money,
my point
and
is
where
that,
am I
Leo,
going to get it from?
think
You told me that I can do it
Leo,
now
think
with
about
the redevelopment law.
But think
And I
about
can
what you
take the
said.
redevelopment law and take the tax increment and turn them into bonds.
Right, but-
And then we'll
right.
take the bond finance
Right.
and we'll develop the project
Right.
that will
But
do
think-
what?
but think-
Raise
but-
the tax.
But here's the thing.
Raise
Hold on a second.
the tax rate.
Leo, think about what you said now, approximately 4 minutes and 12 seconds ago. You said, okay, that we have control of the money. So what happens when we don't have redevelopment? We've lost control of, right? That's what we've been dealing with
Right.
since 2011. We've seceded control of the market to the market. We haven't tried to direct it at all, and so now we have this gigantic homeless problem. And we have a
So
set of
why
people.
do you blame? Well, who do you blame for that? You say the mechanisms, the tools are there. Why aren't the mayor and the council using these tools?
Because
Who's the redevelopment director? Who's the redevelopment director of Oakland now?
the redevelopment, we don't, the redevelopment director
Last
of
person
Oakland
I
is
remember
supposed to be
dealing
the,
with when I was practicing law, and when the last project that I remember working on, it was this lady named DiCaprio, Claudia.
Claudia's gone. And Claudia gave way to a new person who's not really the director of redevelopment. And Libby has an established one. She has Mark Sawicki, or however you pronounce his last name, is the director of economic development. But you never see this guy. He never gives a speech. Few people know what he actually looks like or what he comes from, okay? He's hidden. He is the most invisible economic development director. Hold on a second. This guy is the most invisible economic development director Oakland's ever had.
I understand that. I'm asking you a question. Where did he come from?
I don't know where he came from. He could have come from the eastern hills of Kentucky. I don't know where he came from. All I know is that he's there and he's done nothing. Okay.
Okay, so fine. We don't have to talk about him anymore. Okay.
We should mention he hasn't done anything.
That's on Libby's record then, because she appointed him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's forget about him. Since you don't know anything about him and you can't answer any of my questions about him, let's talk to Libby now. Now, Libby, what is it that you proposed when you ran for office that what you were going to do in the area of economic and redevelopment that you got Zenny to support you?
She said,
and now he's not supporting you. What is it that you're going to do, or what did you promise to do that you haven't done?
She has not. Her idea was made in Oakland. She was going to advance Oakland-made businesses to grow and have a program that focused on the development of Oakland-made businesses.
Okay, but again, I understand all
Oakland,
that. That's
right.
you know that.
But she didn't do that. Leo,
Make America great.
Leo,
make Oakland great. Okay,
right.
she's going to do that. How is she going to do it?
You'd have to ask her. That was her broad brush. She never put.
Didn't you ask her when you supported her?
I thought she was going to take my advice. She never did. I had my own idea of how to do it. She never took my advice, Leo.
Well, what did she promise when she ran? I mean,
now we're going in a circle. I just said what she was going to do. Okay. But my point is, you have to have somebody that understands how to fill in the details of the broad brush. And when Libby came along, she had friends of Libby. But a lot of the friends, she only listened to some of them. And then others, she basically seceded to or pushed or put and just said, hey, look, trust me and I'll take care of it my way. As opposed to what we thought was, oh, by the way, hey, we're going to be on this task force or that task force or anything else. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
So who are you going to replace her with?
You know, me personally, I'm running this company. I'm building my media. Uh, my question to you is, what should we do from your opinion, from your point of view? I think Libby is a shoo-in for re-election myself, and that's the way it is. Unless someone like the only person that's running against her that's actually listed that has a recognizable name is Cat Brooks. If Cat can mount a good and credible campaign, and so far it looks like she's on her way to doing that.
Well, so far, I don't know who Cat Brooks is. So you can tell her, you might think she's doing a good job, but you tell her Leo Bazile don't know who this is. So I don't know who else knows who is Cat Brooks, man or female?
She's a female who is best known for having a recall effort, both against first Jean Quan and then Libby.
Did she succeed?
No, she did not succeed. No, obviously.
Oh, okay. So I don't know who she is, and she ran 2 failed campaigns, and that's her credibility to be the next mayor. You gonna knock Libby off with that?
No. She's also credited, depending on who you talk to, with causing the creation of the Oakland Police Commission. And
that was a good thing.
Yeah,
that was a good thing.
And bringing attention to the plight of the homeless in Oakland. Although, look, I'm not saying she's the only person to do that. By far, I don't want to get into any trouble. But I'm saying that she's done.
She wasn't even living in Oakland. I bet you when we were dealing with the homeless landed on our doorstep. Thanks to Ronald Reagan with his safety net. Remember that?
I certainly do.
When they started when people started dropping through the safety net, you know where they landed? On City Hall steps.
Yep.
I was on City Council when we had to deal with Henry and all the other people trying to deal with homeless. So the homeless thing been here with us for a long time, but it's terrible now. I mean, under the freeways, all these back streets, we didn't solve the problem then, and we couldn't solve the problem because cities weren't equipped to solve the problem.
No, and
if we had something like CETA, and the federal government giving us money direct, we would have been able to do more and would have probably been able to, with the county, solve a lot of the problem. But we didn't have that federal assistance because our federal assistance had to go through the states and then come to us. If you had Pete Wilson and Duke Machen and all of them sitting up there blocking all the money, that wasn't tenable. So you keep digging and digging, and now even Orange County, I have to understand, they've got people all living up and down the freeways in California.
Oh, it's horrible. And not only that, we're all ran by Democrats. That's what bothers me. I mean, you've got between the homeless problem in California, and then you got $750 million going to Raiders, led by a Democrat, Steve Sisolak, who's running for governor in Nevada, using money that normally goes to the education system. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Why am I a Democrat?
Where's Vancouver?
I'm not Vancouver. I mean Nevada. Sisolak is a Nevada.
No, I'm talking about Vancouver. Go up to Vancouver in Canada. Guess who you see on the street? Homeless people. Just get the difference of those homeless people in Vancouver.
What?
They're white.
Gotcha.
Other than that, so urban living is a real problem for people throughout the world. And we have not solved that problem because the more you do to help the homeless, guess what? The more homeless people come your way because you're compassionate. You're not like these other places. So the places of compassion, San Francisco, Oakland, and everything else, we're never going to solve the homeless problem without the federal government intervening.
Oh, the federal government has to intervene, but my point is that we had an engine of development of truly affordable housing for years, and we killed it, Leo. Do you realize? Hold on a second. Do you realize in 2011?
I don't have time to take you down the road on that one, but I can tell you, at least from my 10 years of experience, if you expect municipalities to solve the housing problem, you as a planner have no business in the planning department because you don't understand the urban dynamics that are going on down here.
No, I understand it.
That's why I disagree with you. There's no local government on the planet has solved the problem of housing.
I disagree.
In a popular area like the Bay Area.
We had it in our hands and we let it go with redevelopment and tax increment financing. I completely disagree with you, and I say to you, we must do it. We cannot have the attitude that it can't be done. We have the tools to do it. We have people who don't get how to pull the levers of government to make government work. I say you're 1,000,000% wrong. I challenge you on that. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Okay.
We can do it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm open. I want to solve the problem. That's what I told you. If I see anything out there that I would talk to Libby and any of the council members about that I see in my city today, I don't like this homeless problem out here, and I don't see how city government's going to do it or county government's going to do it when it's spreading throughout all the counties in the state of California, and the state can't figure it out to help us. So
No, I mean, we
how
have,
are we
like-
going to solve that problem? That's who
And
I'll
we-
elect
and
the
we-
mayor, the
and-
person that
right.
gives me an idea of how to do that. And if Zennie, you come up with the problem and you got the answer, then you should run for mayor.
I'll tell you what, Scott Wiener had that idea of, transit development around the BART stations and all that. I'll tell you what was dumb about that one. He had half the equation right. He wanted to build all these housing, allow all of this density around BART stations, but he didn't want to include tax increment financing. And I thought, here's another bozo idea. You want to have all this
So
development.
what kind of finances did he use?
Nothing. I read his entire legislation, sentence by sentence. There was no mention of any type of financial incentive to cause the construction of truly affordable housing. And that's what I really rail against. I'm saying, what kind of people are we electing that don't want to do the nitty-gritty work of designing an economy?
The people that listen to the real estate developers lobbyists.
Who get paid by them, you mean?
I don't get paid by them. Just listen to them. They hear them. They hear them when they come in. They say, "Oh no, if you put that into the legislation, we're going to have to oppose that, and we're not going to be able to get that."
And the problem,
so
Leo,
they amend it out, or they weasel word it in some way that it means.
And the problem, Leo, is we've let economic development, we let housing be economic development in Oakland. So now we say, oh, how many jobs are created? Well, all these construction jobs because we're building housing. Oh, excuse me, wait. I'm not talking about construction jobs. I'm saying how many permanent jobs are we creating? Silence. They're not creating any.
Once you build the housing, what kind of job is going to be available after the construction people will leave?
Right, nothing.
The housing is there now. You got the manager if it's rental housing, and they're going to pay property taxes, and that's the other thing. That's another problem that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
They need to fix that Proposition 13 lie that we're still living in.
I agree.
Businesses and commercial entities are not paying their fair share.
I agree. Absolutely agree. And not
Right?
only,
And if Jerry Brown, if I fault him for anything, is that he didn't fix that as governor of this state by bringing that issue forward and fixing it the way it ought to be fixed, because he and Leo McCarthy allowed Proposition 13 to do what it did. They sat on their ass. They had a goddamn $1 billion deficit up there, and they sat on their ass and allowed this guy Gans to go out there, and rightfully so, get those senior citizens to sign those petitions, and it screwed us when they took our damn tax base from us.
And folks, he's talking about Howard Jarvis and Paul Gann, the authors of the Jarvis-Gann Initiative, otherwise known as Proposition 13. So, Leo, hey man, we got to do this again because it's like, I know it's like 10:10 where you are, and this has been fantastic, man. And I know you want to get to bed at some point, so I'm gonna. But I want to, before I close out, May 10th is a big red letter day in your history because the Jeffrey's Inner Circle is celebrating you, and I want to encourage everybody who's going to be in Oakland to get a ticket and celebrate the life and legacy of Leo Bazile.
Well, it's not really, and that's why I said I don't know where they even came up with the idea. Elihu Harris, Mayor Harris, and former Treasurer Don White, and a bunch of other people decided that they wanted to do a fundraiser for voter registration and get out the vote, those kinds of things. And somebody suggested, well, why don't we honor Leo Bazile since his birthday is coming up? So that's how that came about. I don't know what they're honoring. All I know is I'm going there to raise money for voter registration and community activity here in the city of Oakland. If I'm the magnet that they use to draw, great if it's great. And if nobody comes, then it's not my fault. So
No, they'll all be there. They even say, ML Scott says, congratulations to Mr. Bazile. on the celebration of his legacy on May 10th. I say congratulations, council member, and we're celebrating you and all that you've done and everything. So, I mean, come on, it's his
Man, all
worthy
I've done
worthy.
is lived in Oakland all my life and just love this place. This is it. I do whatever I can for my city, and that's always been about. I'm a Fremont Tiger, class of 1960. Went to Hamilton Junior High School. I bet you don't even know where Hamilton Junior High School is, do you?
Excuse me, I went to Bret Hart.
Yeah, but where's Hamilton?
Down the street, way down the street. I didn't go to Hamilton. I went to Bret Hart, man.
I know,
I went
but
to Bret
most
Hart.
people don't know that it's called Calvin Simmons now.
I know. I remember
So
Hamilton. Yeah.
So that's where I test people. I say, let me find out who the real Oaklanders are. I say, where was Hamilton Junior High School? And they say, there's no Hamilton Junior High. I say, okay, you haven't been here for a while.
Oh no, there is. In fact, I have to say, my buddy Lars Frickman and I met Lars in 2000. Excuse me, in 1975 at Bret Hart Junior High School. He and Bill Boyd and I started the Star Trek Club there. We made the most money of any club in Bret Hart Junior High history. He died 2 Thursdays ago in his sleep. Yeah, a great Oaklander, a great man. And get this, Leo, he passed away at 3 a.m. 6 hours later, his second grandson was born. His second grandson, to his son Kyle, has his nose. I kid you not.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's Lars. I miss Lars and miss Lars a lot. Just talk to me.
Well, sorry to hear about it. Condolences to his family.
Thank you, appreciate it. We gotta have you back, my man. I gotta have you back
All
on
right,
the show.
I enjoyed it.
All right, this is a lot of fun. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Everybody.
You do the same.
All right, man. I'll see you, Leo. All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Okay. So, folks, that was a great moment with a great man. That was Oakland Councilman Leo Bazile. That was, I don't know what you all thought about it. That was one of the most fun times I've had on this show. It really was something else. And ML Scott says, you two are great together. I can listen to you go. I can listen to you all day. I love it. No, that was great. I could have gone on all day. Oh, by the way, John Mark says, remember the Federation Trading Post? John, that's where we went all the time. Lars, Bill, and I, the Federation Trading Post. Yeah, I bought my Star Trek Concordance there by B. Joe Trimble, as well as the Star Trek technical manuals of the Enterprise. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And John Mark says, Leo Bazile is awesome. And Rick Wells says, great debate. Thank you. It was fun. At first, because I'm so used to just, letting the other person talk. And then it took me a while to realize, hey, wait a minute. This is he wants to have an exchange. And I thought to myself, since I don't consider myself a journalist, I'm a new media guy. That's what this is about. A vigorous exchange. So at first I was like, I want to make sure that the council member has the say, right? And then somewhere along the way, I just said, screw it. That was fun. But, with a side of decorum, because he is the guest, you respect the guest, you give the guest a little bit more leeway because the guest is the guest. That's what you do. You want everybody to come away feeling like, I hope you all felt that, you understand what Leo's saying, agree with him or not, but that was something. And John Marks, he says, was the Federation Trading Post in Berkeley? Yeah, it sure was. It was up Shattuck Avenue, just before you got to Dwight. Okay, so Dwight, if you're coming up Shattuck this way, right? No, it's not Shattuck. I'm saying Telegraph. You come up Telegraph this way, okay? And then there's Dwight, and there was this kind of warehouse. I forgot what it was called. It's still there. But the Federation Trading Post was in the back on the second level on this side. And like I said, you get everything there that was Star Trek oriented. And then later, Star Wars sort of started creeping into it. It's kind of like, Then they had different costumes, and that's where cosplay was born. Not specifically at just that place, but that was one of them. All right, folks. This is a lot of fun, and it's 1:17. I'm gonna sign off. Say see everybody Sunday. Whew! We started at 11 o'clock, so that's 2 hours and 17 minutes. Yeah. Whew. That's a lot of that ain't bad. Maybe I can go on the Sirius satellite radio circuit. How about to have a satellite radio YouTube combination kind of thing going? Just saying. Just saying. John Mark says, bet your last money it's all gonna be a stone gas. Would you say this is stone gas? John Marks. There's Wickle says Town Politics. John Mark says, remember to watch horror films and keep America strong. Speaking of which, I have a film my friend Vincent Grayshaw is made, and I'm not finished entirely watching it, but it's a difficult subject that is around the kind of events that led to something like Columbine. All right. And what I want to do, and I've had Vince on my show before, although it's been a while, okay? It's been a while. But what I want to do is bring Vince in to talk about it. Vince Grayshaw is a guy that I met. He was working on a movie called Bellflower, and his movie now is called And Then I Go. And it stars. It's out. It came out April 17th, and it's a portrait of teen alienation. Okay, that is just it's a film you got to watch, and it's available now on digital platforms as of April 17th. But I want to bring on Vince to talk about this and encourage everybody to see And Then I Go, because it's a path-breaking work. It really is, and I'm proud of him. Vince, I met Vince when he was part of the cast for Bellflower, a great movie made by Evan Glodell, and then Vince made another movie about the abuses these not clubs but membership organizations, these kind of sleepaway camps that purport to take your kid and change your kid's behavior. Let's say your kid is having a drug rehab problem or a drug problem. You send them to this to get rehabilitated. Well, the rehab methods are, to say the least, questionable. Vince's movie exposed that. So, And Then I Go is another trip down the lane of a discussion of a touchy subject. In this case, teen alienation and gun use. I think you kind of get an idea where we're headed with respect to that movie. All right. Okay. So Karen Christian says, "Hey Karen, how you doing? Welcome." She says, "Bring Mark Davis on. The fans have questions and want answers." He's not even talking to me. Someone else says, "Bring Kamala Harris to the debate." I'll do the best. I this was fun. I mean, I drink ice water, but John Mark says that Mark Davis will never be on Zenny's show. Never. That would be interesting to have a cartoon of him saying, never. Oh my God, it is worth a shot. Karen says it's worth a shot. I agree with you. It is. All right, folks. Kevin KD says it would be the live stream of the decade. It would. It would be. By the way, still taking, hey, look, if you like this show in particular, you can still invest in Zenny62. That hasn't stopped. We're only growing, and I can't say enough for this. Okay, I can't. I just, whew, this is fun stuff, to say the least. Fun stuff. Fun stuff, all right? But if you want to invest, I encourage you to do so. And if you don't, that's okay. That's okay. All right. So anyway, let's see here. All right, folks. Live long and prosper. I'll see you on Sunday. Invest in Zenny. Don't invest tonight. Wait until Sunday. Wait until Sunday. Hold your horses until Sunday, okay? Just saying. Just if you're gonna invest, wait until Sunday. Wait until Sunday. All right? And may the 4th be with you. That's right. Oh, wait a minute. The 4th is tomorrow. Should I do a special Zenny62 live stream around that? Oh. What say you all? What say you all? Should I do a special May the 4th be with you live stream? Emil Scott says yes. Who else says yes? Yeah. Emil Scott says, but a short one. How short? 30 minutes? 30 minutes? Yes, 30 minutes. All right? Okay. All right, I'll do one Friday night, 8:30, 11:30. So Friday night, 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern, okay? How's that? 30 minutes. May the 4th be with you, because we'll catch the tail end of the 4th and be able to talk about the 4th and all that stuff, right? Sounds good? Sounds good? All right. Recool says, do your thing. All right. My thing right now is signing off. Live long and prosper. And may the force be with you. The 4th. It is the 4th, right? See ya, and thank you for stopping by, Karen. Nice to have you back. See you, everybody. Okay, take care. See ya.